Rabbito Farmino. Today you're looking at my scruffy background. That wasn't the plan for you to see the background as I always do. I use a program called OBS to um, show the rabbits at the background and at the same time show you what is going on and also myself coming in. But like everything, I got caught today. So you can see my background of where I shoot most of my videos. Rabbito Farmino, let's not beat about the bush. Um, I do apologize that today you cannot see the beautiful rabbit. I've composed nice video to bring to the background whilst we chat, but it looks like today we're going to have a chat without the bunnies. I will try to compose something um, at the end of these in order to, share with anyone who is interested in having this conversation. But let's not let these stop us from the discussion. So we're going to have something like a podcast rather than a video at the background. I have been thinking very deep, and my thoughts are with all rabbit farmers as we all look at how we can improve upon our rabbitry. Today we're going to focus on Africa. Africa. So my European subscribers, please bear with us. But you're definitely by all means invited to stay tuned, and maybe who knows, you can help us, and you can give us some input, because there is nothing like too much help. So if you're if you're watching from the West, I will encourage you to stick around and also give us a push. What are we talking about? Africa, 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 Africa. So most of Africa is developing, and the youth are trying their possible best to make things happen, but it's very difficult. So we are looking at various different niches, different kind of different ways that we can break free from poverty, from hardship, from break free from all the stuff. And a little part, small part that we can probably latch on. The reason why we can latch on it is very simple to start. It's not capital intensive. It is very easy to start. You can start from as small as one small space to as big as acres of land. And we, myself, and a lot of like-minded people believe that this is a way that we can, we can make it, or we can pave a way. So I've been thinking, what can we do as Africans? What is our goal in rabbit farming? And our goal will determine how we approach it. If our goal is to produce fur, or our goal is to produce very beautiful rabbits that are so nice for pet lovers, or our goal is to produce rabbits just because um, we we love the animals. Or the biggest one, you know what I'm holding back. Are we producing rabbit as, are we looking at it as poultry? Are we looking at it as something that can save us from our poverty? Or how are we looking at it? And that will determine what goal we are going to set for ourselves. I'm not going to put a bit about the bush. We Africans are in it as rabbit farming business. We are looking at it from business perspective. Therefore, we have to look at it in a different way, with different pair of eyes, if you like, and not just get into it because you see a fluffy animal and you think, oh, I love them so much, so I'm going to get into it. This means we have to be selective in the way we do our stuff. So I have a biggish rabbit farm. I say biggish because it's not the biggest, but the interest is um, the interest is to produce meat in similar quantity as chicken. Yes, you can call it maybe over ambitious, but the interest is to produce meat. And therefore, we have to be very selective in um, the way we approach these, because if we are not, then we will be just plain. We're not going to be prolific, or we're going to just be beating about the bush. So today is going to be a discussion. I will be happy to have as many people as possible commenting and contributing. I know I've got Mr. Badebo Isaac. Hello, my brother. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. You're very interested in rabbits. You're welcome. You're in the right place. So stick with us and see what we can do together. I'm trying to link this link to our Facebook group. So please give me your suggestion. What do you think we should do? What are the areas that we should look at in order for us to develop this passion that we have for rabbit farming? So please bear with me. I'll just link this to my Facebook, and so that I can have my Facebook group. I'm so ambitious that I said I was going live on Facebook and also on YouTube as well, but you can't do everything. So just bear with me 1 second. I'm just gonna post this on Facebook so that everyone can get access to this conversation. So bear with me a second. I'm almost there. Almost there. I am almost there. One more. One more. Thank you for your patience. So I've got a few faces around. Daxis is on there. I think that's Santiago. I'm catching the names now. So can everybody hear me clearly? Just give me a thumbs up, anyone, so we can get deep into this conversation now. Everybody can hear me clearly? Do I have to speak a bit louder? Can I get a yes from anyone or a thumbs up from anyone? Okay, I can see I'll get some love from you. So I guess that is a good sign. So let's talk about meat rabbit. I know a lot of people feel very uncomfortable when we're talking about rabbit as a meat. A lot of people feel very uncomfortable, and rightly so, because rabbits are one of the finest pets you can have. I have rabbits as pets. But listen, it's just the evolution of life. When we die, I'm sure the termites will enjoy our meat. Therefore, I have no guilt, or I don't have anything against anyone who eats rabbit meat, even though I have rabbit as pets. I have a rabbit as a farm as well. So I don't see anything wrong with that at all. We are fluffing around a bit. We will get there. We're going to talk about rabbit farming. So that's a business, right? Farming is a business, right? It's just like someone getting up, dressing up to go to the office. They are going to work. So we are looking at rabbit as a farm. Now let's go a little bit into the history of rabbit. For my European brothers and sisters who don't know, rabbit has been serving us on the dinner table from the time of the Second World War and even beyond. You know, Europeans were consuming a lot of rabbit meat. You won't believe that the UK was one of the highest consumers of rabbit meat after the First World War. And then suddenly things change, and then they start looking at rabbit more as a pet. That's because it became uncontrolled. And then a lot of people dwindle into not liking rabbit as meat. And for the younger generations, even my generations, if we don't know the history, you think, oh, okay, this is rabbit farming. So this is rabbit that's so cute. And rabbit as meat is not new at all. It's big in even some of the Western countries. But we are focusing on Africa. How are we approaching this? Okay, you see, we have to be 100% focused on what we are doing. Are we going to keep rabbits as, are we going to look rabbit as the color of their fur? Or are we going to look at rabbit as how big they get and how soon they get to that level, that weight that will make you transform them into meat? This is what we should be looking at, I think, more than we looking at, oh, they've got lion head fur, they've got Angora fur. We should rather be looking at what our mission is to make meat. And I always like to compare rabbit farming to poultry farm, because again, another fact, in Canada, they call rabbit meat poultry. And apart from the nutritional value of the rabbit meat, a lot of people take it serious. So it's very important for us to focus and it's very important for us to focus and concentrate on what we are doing. Now, this brings us back to the breed, the rabbit breed. I know you've heard this word from me so many times, probably you're tired of it, but the breed plays a significant role in rabbit farming. Unless you're doing it for pets. If you're not doing it for pets, I don't see why your first inclination is to look at the color of the rabbit, because you're looking at it for as a meat. When you process a black rabbit and process a white rabbit and you remove their skin, you will get rabbit meat, right? Whether it's brown, blue, um, orange, whatever color that rabbit is, you're getting rabbit meat. And therefore, probably we should start looking at what breed is going to yield the best meat for us, rather than the color of the rabbits we are looking at. Yes, when we go into the history of rabbit production, a lot of rabbits um, have been formulated to get big quicker, and therefore um, the history is there. When you check on the internet anywhere, you will see rabbits like, um, of course, New Zealand, which is the top rabbit that produces meat. It's not just meat, but they are also um, they are also produced for their fur, and they have very good qualities that makes them um, desirable for the rabbit farming industry. So this was particularly created to serve as meat initially, before the show and the fair comes into play. We got California, then we got the Palomino, we got the Rex, we got so many other breeds that will give you the meat that you are aiming at. So, what's your goal? If your goal is to produce meat, please ask the right question when you're purchasing rabbit, and purchase rabbit from reputable breeders. Now, I know this is growing in Africa slowly, and people are getting the confidence, and people are doing the right thing. We go in the right direction, but at the same time, we are also having a lot of hindrances. And until we all focus on where we are going, we will have difficulties in achieving what we plan to achieve. And therefore, I call on all of you, African rabbit enthusiasts, rabbit farmers, rabbit homesteaders, to think the same way, in the same direction, so that we can all achieve something from rabbit farming. Now, poultry. I've mentioned poultry. Those who are doing poultry, they have the layers. We have the layers. Layers, their job is to lay eggs. So they are bought in order for them to just lay eggs. Okay. At some point, when the eggs dry in their system, the owner might decide to sell them as meat. So that's why when you go to the meat market, you get um, um, layers or old layer meat as well. Their texture is different. So we got layers, and then we got um, broiler. Okay, we got broiler. Broiler. The main purpose of broiler is to produce meat, nothing else but to produce meat. And until we start thinking like the poultry farm, we will never ever achieve our aim. I don't think we'll ever achieve our aim. So, what are some of the significant things in poultry farm that we need to learn? Number one is the broiler does not live long. That's just the way they are created, or that's the purpose. They live maximum 14 weeks, but mostly by the 12 weeks, they are on the shelves. They have been processed and they are on the shelf for us to buy as meat. So by 3 months of you putting in your feed, special feed, the broiler should be on the table for you. And let's take layers to be your breeding stock. The layers, you want them to lay eggs for you continuously. So your breeding stock, there's a feed that you give them. If you go to the poultry, today I'm going to talk a lot about poultry and rabbit because they are interconnected. They sell layer mash, okay? Those are feed specific for layers, okay? They are specific for layers. They've got specific content that helps the layers to lay their eggs. I'm sure there is a lot of calcium in that feed. And then when you go, there is also broiler starters and different kind of feeds. Therefore, we know that we should not be giving our breeding stock the same feed or the same pellets that we give our broiler stock, which we call in the rabbit world outgrowers. Okay, so I have dwindled into the feeding aspect of things. Okay, so because they are interconnected. So how you feed your rabbits is equally important as to whether they achieve the desired weight, which is between 1.5 and 2 kg. Would they achieve that weight by 12 weeks, or are they going to be feeding till they are 6 months and they're still not achieving 2 kg? What are you doing? Or the kgs that they've achieved, if you take an Angora, for example, I'm not picking on any particular rabbit, but I know Angora is very popular in Nigeria and other African countries. The main purpose of Angora is their fur. Of course, when you remove the fur, they become meat. But because they are specific for fur, you realize that their fur becomes heavy, part of their weight. So if you dress an Angora, you will not get a good weight because the fur takes a lot of the weight. So in a nutshell, you cannot use a broiler as breeding stock. And this is where we have to wake up and know that those of us, or most of us, formulate our feed because feed is expensive in Ghana. I don't think in Africa, not a lot of people are able to invest in a pelletizer, and those who have commercialized pellets make it so expensive, so not everyone can afford. I can attest that in my farm we use formulated feed at the moment, but hopefully very, very soon we will be using pellets, which is good for the rabbits. So feed is one very important aspect of it. If you're doing rabbit farm, and I mean farm as in, let's say, anything from 20 doe unit upwards, or if let's come down to 10 doe unit upwards, please concentrate on what you're giving your breeding stock Breeding stock being the ones that stays in your farm, that are the parent stock. They just give birth and you look after them. Consider what you feed them. You have to be very careful with the balance of protein, calcium, fiber, so that you're able to control and know that they're not going to fall ill, or they're not going to have stasis or any other of those diseases that comes with a broiler. In fact, if you think about it, broiler chicken, because of the way they are being fed, they cannot live beyond certain age. They will die because the feed they are giving them is rich in protein, and therefore at some point their system will not be able to take it anymore. You should think the same way. So if you're feeding your breeding stock with the same kind of feed, then it becomes an issue for you. Now, what are our goals as Africans? What is our goal in the rabbit farming? Meat. Meat production is a major goal. So I will say, unless you have a big rabbit farm and you're just interested in doing other breeds, or just want to have diversity in your breeding stock, then there is no reason why you should have Angora, lion head, and the other breeds. Now, I don't have anything against any of these rabbits that I've mentioned, but um, they are not prolific. Okay, Angora, I'm sure, takes a long time to get big. I think it's the same for Lionhead. We have Lionhead in our farm. That's because we didn't know what we were buying initially. You can listen to my story on my other videos. So we didn't buy a Lionhead to start with, but we inherited it when the parents start giving birth. We ended up having a lot of Lionheads in our thingy. But because we have used pure genes, pure line, um, New Zealand's, even our lion heads that we've got now are rocking shoulders when it comes to weight with our hybrid New Zealand's, and we will come there. We'll come there where we will be talking about how to improve the breeds you've got already. But if you're starting now, please, please, please. I know in Nigeria, my people, there is the Hyla Max. I was listening to Lorex Farm group chat the other day, and the Hyla is very good for Africa. So if you have any interest and you're just starting, Hyla, because Hyla is a mixture of New Zealand and California, is a mixture of the top meat rabbits in the world. So obviously it's got the perfect gene. Then you have New Zealand is the top, and then you have California. I don't really want to talk about the other breeds, but I will talk about one particular breed that is similar to these three that I've called: Hyla, um, New Zealand, California. This breed I'm going to talk about was developed in South Africa, Pindula. If you haven't heard it before, the South African Pindula are very tough. They are developed for Africa. So it means they can stand the climate. At the same time, their meat production is as good as these three that I've mentioned. Nothing against the chinchilla, the um, checkered giant, and all of them. Nothing against them. You do what you want to do. If you're going for color or the name, you can spend your valid money to buy these rabbits. Now, why do we? It's New Zealand and California and the Hyla and South Africa pendula. Are they the biggest rabbits we can get? No, they are not. They are referred to as large breeds, or you can call them medium breeds. Okay. The reason why I mentioned these four is because it's tried and tested that these four are good for our African climate. They can stand the heat, and also they are hardy, which means they can adapt very easily. Although I don't know too much about the Hyla. I don't want to talk about what I don't know. I can talk firmly about the New Zealand because I have the New Zealand in my farm, the pure breeds, and I can talk about the pendula because I have the pendula also in my farm, but I'm just developing them now, so I don't want to talk about them. So you have to be intentional about how you're getting into it. And unfortunately, we as human, our eyes guide us. So we cannot even see. We can see, we can rather see, and the our eyes gives us the attraction that, oh, this is white, I wonder why. Oh, this is brown, it's got beautiful. But please, let's not use the eyes. Let's use the other senses of our body, which is our brain, to choose the breed that is more prolific for our purpose. Okay, so probably when I started, we must have bought some what do you call them, checker giants, and some Dutch, and all the other names. But I realized that we don't need any of these ones that I've mentioned. So we are slowly, almost 2 years, we are in our second year of that large scale rabbit farming. We are still purging because you can't just throw them away. You still have to use them and get some good stock to improve what you've got there already. So it is important for us to think in that direction of the purpose we are doing this rabbit farming for. One more, and then I can go and check what conversations we've got. I'll answer some questions if we have any. The environment and the housing we provide for the rabbits plays a big role in how they are going to be prolific for you. Now, I know we want to multiply the numbers because the rabbits, as I always say, they don't have any problem giving birth. So long as you provide the environment for them, they will give birth to you, and only if you can contain them. So a lot of farmers are resorting to making very small cages for these rabbits. Now, remember, rabbits live in the wild. If you've seen a video of rabbits playing, they live in the wild where they have big space, they can run up and down, and it's part of how they feel healthy. So if we are confining them in a hutch or a cage, then it's very important that we consider the housing. I was listening to Lorex Farm. I was listening to their podcast. They have a very, very, very successful. That group is going to be successful. And I was listening to someone who was sharing his experience, and he hinted on the sizes of cage. You know, please don't let us get greedy and selfish and think, okay, if I have instead of 2 feet, I'm going to make it 1 feet so I can keep 2 rabbits there. No. You know what's going to happen? Karma. You make small rooms for them, They will give birth and everything, but because the space is not big, they will get stressed. They will not feed their babies properly, right? And they will step on their babies mistakenly because it's a tiny, tiny space. So if your rabbit give birth to 10 and you're keeping her in a small space, you're stressing the rabbit and sharing that small space with the babies until you win them. So if you think about it, you will realize that you will lose at least 50% of the babies. And the babies are what grows up to make your farm look developed. So you have to think like, give them space. Give them space and give them good food and water. That's all you need to do for the rabbit. If you look after them and you feed them properly, you will not need a lot of medication at all. So it really depends on what you want to do with your rabbits. So just to recap, I mentioned New Zealand, California, the South African pendula, the Hyla, which I don't know too much about, but what I've heard is that they are very prolific as well. These 4 breeds should be what you should be aiming at. And if you haven't got those 4 and you're going for the name Chinchilla, Flemish Giant, and all the rest, then yeah, they will still give you rabbit meat, but is that going to fulfill your goal for getting into the rabbit farming? Rabbito Farmino, I've spoken a lot. So I am going to open the floor for any question. Let me give some shout outs to some of the people who have come online. We got Badebo, Isaac, Fatade. Thank you for coming online. Daxis, Santiago, of course, Santiago will be there. We have Adioti Lore. Hello, Adioti. I'm sure you're from Lorex Farm, X Farm WhatsApp group. And then we have Kuburati Olawale Lawal. Story of your life. Okay, I'm glad it resonates with you. Yes, we got Mama Me. Yes, my sister in rabbitry. Thank you very much for coming on this live to support. The line is open if you want to ask any question. If there is anything that you want to add, please go ahead and add it to what we have got. I do apologize for the late start to this live. If you've noticed, you see at the background rabbits playing about, because I am not the main event. The rabbits are the main event. So I would rather shoot myself to one side and you see them doing their things. But unfortunately, my system was not playing ball this afternoon. Therefore, I had to come live like this. So I do apologize. You're not seeing any rabbit. In fact, soon as we finish, because I recorded about 18 minutes, me cleaning and feeding them this morning in the storm. But unfortunately, I couldn't load that, and therefore I could not show you that. But I hope this helps, and I hope the conversation is helping someone. Hey, Mr. X Farm, thank you very much, X Farm. I really appreciate you introducing me to your group. I already feel like a big member of that group. Thank you very much. Oh, Laure said he will be happy to watch my daily routine. Okay, I promise you, I've done the video already. but unfortunately, I could not put it there. Whilst I wait for questions, thank you, sir. It's interesting. Can you please share more on inbreeding? Malik, Mamu. Hello, Malik. I have a lecture on Thursday for inbreeding with X Farm Group, and I don't want to scratch the surface. I am fully prepared for that program, and therefore, after I finish with that lecture, then I'll make a proper video about it. So if you belong to X Farm Group, please make sure Thursday, I'm sure it is 6 p.m. Nigerian time, 7 p.m. GMT. If you belong to that group, make sure you come so that we have that conversation. 7 p.m. Thank you very much for that reminder, Lawal. Thank you very much. Yes, 7 p.m. I'm so much looking forward to it. It's going to be a very good conversation. And then immediately we finish the conversation, I will post it on this YouTube channel so that we can all share. Is it 7 p.m. Nigerian time? Is it 7 p.m. or 6 p.m.? Please correct me. Mama me. So, one of the main things that I wanted to talk about is 7 p.m. Nigerian time. Okay, that'll be fine. One thing I want to talk about is with today's social media and the way things go nowadays, we have to be very careful with the way we do things, because whenever you're doing something prolific, there are always people coming in to try to dupe the system or to be smart, to play smart. Many a times we have tried to make some sales, and what really annoys me, and I'm going to say this, what really annoys me is another small scale rabbit farmer coming up to offer something very, very disrespectful for my rabbits. Okay. And sometimes it annoys me so much. I'm like, no, we're not selling it to you. And when I'm sorry, but sometimes you get emotional with these things. And then when they come and they're like bargaining, I'm like, nope, we're not selling to you at any price. That is because that is intentionally being disrespectful to your fellow farmer. Okay. If you're offering something very, very, very low to your fellow farmer and you know you're playing that as a middleman, you are going to inflate the price and sell it to your contact. I get that. It's business, but I don't get the reason why some people think they can outsmart everyone, buy it for very low price from the farmer, and then go and inflate the price like more than 100%. Why can't you buy it reasonable from another farmer so that they can also enjoy the fruit of their labor? Instead, you like to dupe your fellow farmer to for you to have your maximum profit, and that really gets me. I'm saying this because we are getting to the stage where we have to start forming associations. Please, let's bury our pride. Let's start forming associations. Let's register associations where farmers will be able to work together with the same goal. Okay. Now, everybody in every country, wherever you're watching this from, think about association. We have leaders among us. We do have leaders among us. So the leaders get up and form associations so that you control sales. You can even help with the feed production. You can help with association. You can go somewhere. This is not an individual kind of thing. Poultry farm, they've left it long time ago. That's because they are big. I mean, the whole world. Poultry is the most popular meat in the world. But we rabbit farmers have to start having association. Association can support each other. We can work together. I've heard so many stories of individual rabbit farmers selling rubbish breeds to their fellow farmers. When they know this is not a pure breed, they go and sell it as a pure breed. Just because the rabbit have got a body or something, they go and sell it as a pure breed just to dupe their fellow farmers. The only thing that can solve that is we having association. So I know Nigeria is big, I know Ghana is big. So if we have smaller associations, slowly, we can encourage people to work in the same direction. So if you say, for instance, if you belong to this association and we say a breeding stock rabbit is 20K, 20,000 naira, or 20, 200 Ghana cedis, whatever your currency, the association agrees that this is how much you sell your product. It's just like cocoa market. If you go to Ghana, who produces cocoa, they sell it to the cocoa board per weight. So you can't, nobody can come in the middle and be like, okay, I'll buy your cocoa, because they know that they are selling by weight. So let's start working from smaller association. If you, even 5 people can form an association, and anyone who want to come in will have to abide by the rules and regulation. It's not about controlling, it's about working together. So if you produce 10 rabbits and you're going to sell it, Baba cannot turn around and say, okay, I'll buy it at 15 Ghana cedis or 15K, when the standard of the association is this rabbit at 1 kilogram is 20K. So please start working. We already have that cohesion. We have X Farm. X Farm, you've been able to organize this group. So from this group, you can form an association. You just need 2 or 3 heads, and I'm sure the rest will also follow, so we can all work together. This is the only way we can control and fish out the scammers, because it's so pathetic that people are not, they are not human. They just like, I will take it. So I thought I would stick this in. Let me see if I've got any other interesting. So I've answered that question. Inbreeding, we'll have that conversation and it'll come in. Right. So Malik was asking, can I use chicken layers feed for breeder rabbits? I'm not very it's a disclaimer. I can't say yes or no. We at the moment use some chicken some of the chicken feed to mix what we are giving to our rabbits right now. So I'm sure the formulation is there. If you DM me, I'll be able to give you what we use to mix it and the ratio and stuff like that. But I wouldn't like to talk so much about it here, because there's so many. If I tell you go and use this and it goes wrong, then it's on me. But if you direct message me, I'll be able to tell you how share with you what we use for our rabbits. So it's important for you to have the right formulation. There are so many formulations there. Different people use different stuff to do it. Kuburat, I see light at the end of the tunnel. This is an eye opener. Yes, of course. Yes, it is very important for us to see the light because it's not far. We just need to start doing things right. Okay, and fish out all these middle people. If the only way we can fish out is if they come to you and you're like, no, I belong to this association, so I can't give it to you at 15K. I belong to that association, so I can't give it to you at this price. I belong to that association, so if I give it to them, they will expel me from the association, and I'm getting a lot of benefit from the association, and I don't want to lose that. So this is the price we are giving it. So either you take it or you leave it. Once we get to this level and are able to control it, my brother, my sister, we can propel from there. Even breeds, I mean, people are just duping other people anyhow, left, right, and center. I won't say I was duped, but definitely I got some wrong stock in the beginning. So Ace, so it's very important for us um, to work together. You know, it doesn't mean we should hold each other's hand, but professionally, we have to work together. We have to think like this is work. I know it's easy to get into, but we need regulation. As someone said, a country with a bad president is better than a country with no president because there will be lawlessness. Okay, so it's better we form an association that we have good people managing things or setting up the rules so that we will be able to regulate what we are doing. Regulation is very important. Otherwise, everybody, you know, we in Africa, we've not even scratched the surface of how much rabbits we can produce. If you go to Asia, if you go to China, Korea, even America, you know, there are so many people producing hundreds of tons, thousands of tons of rabbit meat, you know, and we have to start thinking like exporting, exporting rabbit meat or rabbit byproduct until we start thinking like that and stop, excuse me, my language, stop thinking of only our stomach. We are not getting anywhere. I know even in our own Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, we can't feed what we can't produce. I was looking for you, X-Farm, for you to know that I read every message that comes. I was really reading Pan Avil saying that he's short of rabbit meat. So if anyone wants to drop him, you know, this is what I'm talking about. I know Pan Avil is a big farm, but he's short. So we need each other to work together. We do need each other. So we need to work together to ensure that we are supporting each other, we are helping each other to grow. No one person can produce as much meat as we need in Africa. You know, for more than a year now, we are in our second year. We've not been able to sell enough rabbit meat because we are breeding specific for breeders. So we have not been able to fulfill our orders, even for the breeders. You know, we always have a long queue of people waiting to get our breeds. Someone is producing meat, Christmas is coming. I'm sure every rabbit farmer will be maxed out. You know, so we need to get serious. We need to do this right, we need to start forming the small associations that will end up getting big. We can, it's just like, I don't do politics, but it's just like assembly. Like in politics, you have assemblyman, then you have the member of parliament, then you have regional minister, then you have the president. If we start small, we will be able to end up somewhere, and we'll be able to help ourselves to go. Please don't be selfish. If you've got an idea, share. I am not afraid. That's why I chose to do YouTube, to share my farm experience and help other people to get there, because I'm not afraid. There is no competition to my knowledge, because even in Ghana or Nigeria, I'm sure not one area can produce as much rabbit's meat as is required. Now, everybody on this online now, if I ask you, tomorrow I need 200 carcass of rabbit meat, can one person provide it for me? Please raise your hand if you can provide it for me. I give 5 minutes for someone to raise their hand and say they can give me 500 rabbit meat tomorrow. I have cash money to pay. I want someone to tell me, yes, they can do that. Then I'll clap for the person. I was embarrassed because someone put me, I'm not going to mention the name, someone put me on the spot. I want a New Zealand black. Only one, and I couldn't provide it. That's because I'm maxed out. We need each other. We need each other. Let's bury our selfishness. Let's bury our pride. Let's help each other grow. We will all make money. We will all make money through the rabbit farming, but we need each other. If a university, a university research team says, okay, we want 100 pure breed New Zealand white for an experiment, they come to me who say, I am a New Zealand breeder. Am I able to provide them? Money is not the issue. They want specific breed. Am I able to provide them? This is why we need each other. But if I help Mr. A, B, C, D to build their farm, I can say, yes, I will be able to provide it for you, and go to them and be like, oh, how many can you give me? Before you realize, I've provided that number to the university who needs that help. So, my brother, my sister, please, let's work together. Mr. Kuburat, please ask your question. Ask your question, Mr. I understand now. Sorry, I didn't get it. So your hand is up. You'll be ready in 2 months. No, that's not good enough for me. We want it tomorrow. There's a big party going on with some big people. They want the meat tomorrow. So if Mr. Kubarat is able to contact Mr. Ade and Mr. Ade, and then if he's able to organize about 10 more people, then we will be able to provide this number without the client knowing. And this is why we need the association. Please make the effort and start forming smaller association, and they will grow. I'm happy to look into how we can do that for my area. And then maybe, who knows, we can have West African Rabbit Farmers Association, Rabbit Breeders Association. It starts small and then it increases slowly. And before you know, we get somewhere. Okay. Yes. Together is key. It's very important that we stay together, we link up together and stay together, because divided we fall, divided we fall. I will take 2 more questions. We are about to get into that 1 hour mark. 2 more questions. just to reiterate, we are looking at the right breed to start. I'm not saying that the rest of the rabbits are not prolific. All I'm saying is you want a rabbit that can give you 2 kg within at most 4 weeks. 3 weeks is the normal, but at most 4 weeks. And you don't want to keep your broiler for longer than 4 weeks. What are you doing? Are you doing business or you're playing? If you're keeping them for pet, fine, but you don't want them to go beyond that 16 weeks mark. Otherwise, you're playing, and you want New Zealand, California. What's the name? New Zealand, California. This Nigerian Hyla, which I don't know much about. Don't ask me about it because I don't know much about it, but I've heard good things about Hyla. Then for our own Africa, the only breed that we know in Africa is the Pendula, South African Pendula. I know in Kenya they've got some breeds that they call Kenyeji. I don't know what that means, but it's like a local breed that is also very prolific. You know your local area, what you can bring up. We will be talking more about other topic. Hopefully next week we'll be able to come live again and have this conversation. Just preparing you for next week, what we'll be talking about. I want us to talk about how you can selectively purify your breed and create something like your own breed. You don't need to name it, but something you select your best and then you use them as your breeding stock. Okay, let's see if we got oh, Kuburat, please forgive me. Oh, Mama Me, is it Mimi? Hello, Mimi. Sorry, I do apologize. I just assumed wrongly. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. I do apologize. I'm not too familiar with Nigerian names, so please forgive me for that. Thank you. My own Mama Me. Thank you for your support, Mama Me. I appreciate you a lot. Thank you very much. I'm not really familiar with the name, so forgive me if I've called you a different gender. It wasn't intentional at all. So can we take one more question? We've gone past the 1 hour mark. I'm hoping that we finish this in 2-3 minutes so we can continue enjoying the rest of our weekend. Sunday, only a few hours left for the Sunday before we go on Monday. But just as I have said, December is mental health, my mental health for men. Okay, so if you have a brother, you have an uncle, you have a cousin, you have a son, you have a husband, you have a father, please check on them because we are battling so much and we men are stubborn. I am very stubborn. So even when we are dying, we say, oh, I'm okay, I'll be fine, no problem. And then we die slowly. And by the time you see, it's too late. So I'm just saying, look after your mental health and please check on a man. I know the women are, they are very vocal. We men, sometimes we don't talk and we die slowly. So we are in festive spirit. I'm looking forward to the festivities. Hopefully that will help us to, get over a lot of things. This is Rabbito Farmino. The Lord would heal all our wounds in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Cybertech Rabbit Farm, thank you very much for joining. Tolupe Ogunyemi, thank you very much for joining. I will publish this on my channel, Rabbito Farmino. If you're new here, please subscribe to help the channel grow. Here we give an honest, honest opinions and farm practices for our farm. Everything I talk about here, I've experienced in our farm. At the moment, our farm, we have 150 doe units. Okay, we go into that. 150 doe units is like we have 150 maternity beds for women. Okay, it doesn't mean we don't have other units, but our maternity unit is made of 150 rabbits. So we are growing still. So we've gone through a whole lot of experience in our farm. I think we've seen it all. We've seen the horrible side of things and we've seen the beautiful side of the rabbits. So when we are talking, we're talking from the experience of our farm. So if you subscribe and join our team, you will get the raw, unadulterated, unfiltered truth about rabbit farming. We're not hiding anything. We want people to be prolific. To be honest, we playing this like a charity, because I know serious business people don't want to share their plans, do they? But we are not afraid. We think everybody is entitled to give a shot. Rabbito Farmino. Have we got any more questions? One last question. Shout out to our man. Great, Mama Me. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. We're going to end it here, unfortunately. Rabbito Farmino. We'll catch you up in the next live next week. And I'll see you in the next video. Rabbito Farmino. Thank you for coming.